a lot of talking and discussions around accountability in African leadership, where we had speakers such as Cass Kuvadia, who was joining the panel, alongside with Matthew Sposa and Mark Franklin, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Black Umbrellas. So there was a lot of topics that were discussed there, and the legacy and impact of a broad-based Black economic empowerment was also one of the topics that we were able to cover yesterday, where we took road down memory lane, exploring the 20 years of since it came into law, and we went through quite a number of those as well. So amongst the people that were able to join us yesterday, we were graced by Honorable Kubai, who is the Minister of Human Settlements of South Africa, along with Honorable Barry Swartz, the Deputy Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, and also not forgetting the British High Commissioner to South Africa, Anthony Phillipson, who was able to also join us yesterday as well. So yesterday was a successful day, which is good. The team is happy. I'm happy. I hope you guys are happy too as well. We also have delegates that are joining us online on our Hop-In platform. They are interacting with us, so also as well, you are welcome to join in that platform as well. I am going to ask you though to just switch your phones on silent, but I'm not limiting you to tweeting and tagging us. I'm going to go through all the formalities of what the hashtags are and how you can also interact on Hop-In as well, where you can ask questions, you can interact with the polls. There's quite a lot that's happening there. So what I am going to do is also just thank Nedbank and the Topco Media Group for allowing me to be on this transformational platform as a young person to come and address such esteemed leaders from different institutions. So shout out to you guys for allowing me for this opportunity. They obviously trust me, so that's a good thing. I'm going to go through all our sponsors for today. That's very, 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 very important for us to do so. So thank you to our host partner, who is the host city partner rather, the Gauteng Tourism Authority, of which we all are aware that this could not be possible without their partnership. So thank you so much for being a partner. And then also I want to mention our gold partner, who is PepsiCo South Africa. Thank you so much for enabling for coming on board to be a partner with us as well. So I'm going to go through the silver sponsors as well, where we have merchants. We've got Methon Group, we've got Salga, Mint Group, and the IDC. And our bronze sponsors are FPM CETA, eStudy, Afrocentric Group, and Mandate Mulife. And our exhibitors who are giving us an amazing experience outside for all our delegates that are here with us. We've got BEE 123, we have EW CETA, and we've got our lifestyle partners as well, which is TSL Telecoms, and our partners BP ESA, the British Chamber of South Africa, of Business in South Africa. We've got WIM-SA, we've got Simudisa Startups, Black Umbrellas, and of course our media partners, which is the Star and Channel Africa. And lastly, I'd also like to acknowledge our accreditation partner, ABP, that has allowed us to be certified and provide BBEE specialists with CPD points. So just a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all of our partners and our sponsors. Of course, I would love to mention our platinum partner, which is Nedbank, who have acquired the rights of the Top Empowerment Conference, of which now is known to be the Nedbank Top Empowerment Conference. They have been supporting the Top Empowerment Conference since its inception about 8 years ago. So their commitment to this conference has really grown in its own, and I think that support is quite important. And shout out to Nedbank. So a round of applause to our platinum partner, Nedbank, please. All right, so two more things that are aligned with people my age, the social media side of things. So we've got a number of hashtags. You can choose any one of them, but I do encourage you to use almost all of them. All you have to do is literally just write them down, highlight them, put them on your notes, and then every time you take a picture or a video, you just literally just copy and paste. It's much easier that way. I've been using it for years. It works, believe me. So our hashtags are hashtag Nedbank Top Empowerment, hashtag Top Empowerment 2023, hashtag Nedbank TE 2023, hashtag Nedbank, and hashtag Topco Media. And hashtag Empowerment Awards, hashtag Empowerment Awards 2023, right? So literally you can use any of those. I personally like the hashtag Nedbank Top Empowerment because I feel like it just covers everything, and you can find literally your picture. So the photographer guys are also just taking pictures randomly as well. So when the social media team is posting up content, it's quite easy to also just find your face there roaming in those Twitter streets. There's a lot happening, so I did say that I do encourage you to join in on our live virtual event platform called Hop In and take advantage of all those opportunities to network and make contacts on that platform. Leanne just joined us, so let's just give Leanne a round of applause as she tries to sneak into the venue. See, I got the sneaker memo, Leanne, so yeah, at least we're on par, right? Cool. So we also have competitions for the day. Our lifestyle partner, TSL Telecoms, is running a competition where they're giving away desktop printers. So a desktop printer. So all you have to do is just go to their booth, that side, where you can just drop your business card there. And at the end of the conference day 2, they will then be announcing winners for that desktop printer. So if you don't have your business card here, unfortunately, maybe they can make a plan for you. I don't know, but I don't think you'll be able to participate with that. But still, do go through that side and learn and see if you cannot be part of that. And then we also have the Nedbank Expo booths as well, who are doing giveaways for all our delegates. So make sure that you just go through that side and see what you can participate in. And also visit the PepsiCo Lounge, Yes, the PepsiCo Lounge, who encourage us to go through and collaborate with them to help see where we can grow and develop and enhance local procurement and meaningful market access with their extensive value chain. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, I would also like to welcome our speakers who weren't able to join us yesterday, who are here for day 2. I did mention to our speakers yesterday that we've got literally 3 simple rules. So the first rule is that, or rather it's a reminder, that just 10 to 15 minutes before you grace our stage, please make sure that you go to the sound booth, which is on my left, your right, to just get mic'd up. Just before you grace the stage, to make sure that your mic works properly and it sits properly and it doesn't scratch. And then while you are on stage as well, there's a gentle buzzer that may go off in case you run out of time. You do have a limited amount of time, obviously, to speak. So once you hear that buzzer, just know that it's time for you to wrap up. But there will be a Q&A opportunity when we have our coffee breaks and our networking session breaks as well, for questions that can be posed to our speakers. And then to all our sponsors as well, once you are done on the podium, please do make your way to the media wall that should be on my right, on the far right, when you exit the room. And then I think that's about it with all the announcements. It's quite a mouthful, but worth it. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up with Nedbank, who's going to come up and grace us with a welcome. So there's a video that's going to quickly play before I introduce our next speaker. Let's welcome Nedbank.
We're working with Avocado Vision to create 25 small businesses in the Matatiele area in the Eastern Cape that turn cleared alien invasive trees into green charcoal for the local and ultimately export market.
So at a simplistic level, green charcoal will be charcoal that has a stem, that it's been sustainably sourced and responsibly so, because there's many ways of doing this work, and other people do this work and they actually create more damage than good. So here, it's about making sure that it has that FSC certification. This has been responsibly and sustainably sourced, so you can be assured of the benefits that flow from this work, that it's been done in a way that ensures that those environmental and socio-economic outcomes are sure.
A very good morning to all of you. And you see, I took this to another level. He was worrying about the fact he's only wearing sneakers. I am totally on a different level here. Between my leathers, my banyana, and my netball shoes. I mean, what more do you want from me? I'm like a walking billboard, and I still managed to fit Nedbank into it. Come on, look at this. This is, like, the official one is yellow, and they made me a green one. Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you again. Premier, good to see you, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. You and I were on very early this morning. The Premier, of course, was at Mary Fitzgerald Square, giving us an update as to what happened in the center of CBD, in the Johannesburg CBD on Bree Street. Devastating scenes coming from there, and the whole morning we've been focusing on it. And I know that the Premier was hosting an hour-long briefing to the media, just trying to lay fears and try and get to make people calm down as to what the cause is. We don't know as yet, but we've got the Premier here, and I am surprised and happy to see you. So again, it is really putting the emphasis. This really is putting the emphasis on how important this conference is, that empowerment is something that needs to be discussed at every level, that we need to put on many different jackets as we move around, and yet this is one we cannot ever forget about, and that's what we're doing here. But to officially welcome us here this morning to day 2 of, as you've been hearing, we had a wonderful day yesterday, but let's get into day 2, and Dr. Terence Sabia, he's the Managing Executive of Nedbank Africa Region. He's going to welcome us here. He is an accomplished business leader, an ALI fellow, and under the African Leadership Institute sits on various boards and is also an active member of the Aspen Global Leadership Network. He was appointed the Nedbank Group Exco in April 2020. Let's give Dr. Terence a big round of applause. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Sanbonan. Dumelang. Goeiemorgen. Afshen. I think I've more or less covered, Premier, most bases, except to say all protocol observes for those who I haven't covered this morning. Premier of the province, as Leanne said, it's an honor, actually, and we're privileged that you are here with us today. Given the unfolding story in the city center of Johannesburg, one of the busiest streets, one of the busiest portals of the major economic hub of your province. So it's an honor for us that you actually could come and spend time with us, given an unfolding story that is close to our hearts, and we're all watching with sympathy, empathy, and also care for those that have been impacted and affected. So thank you, Premier, for coming through. To the upcoming speakers, panelists, and facilitators of today, to the organizers of the Nedbank Top Empowerment Conference, esteemed guests, my fellow colleagues from Nedbank, ladies and gentlemen, you're all welcome this morning. Personally, it gives me immense pleasure to deliver this opening address and to welcome you all to this morning's proceedings. Personally, I'm also someone who's very passionate And as my old friend Matthew Sposa will tell you, I have a passionate belief in the importance of astute leadership and governance across the African continent, be it in business, government, or civil society. And so this year's theme of advancing Africa's economic potential through purpose-led transformation is one that naturally resonates with me, both personally, as a Pan-Africanist, and professionally, as a representative of a purpose-driven organization that is committed to using its financial expertise to do good across the continent. So I deliver this welcome this morning against the backdrop of several challenges that we're facing. Though for today, this morning, I'll dwell on climate change and the necessity for Africa to fund an African just energy transition to minimize our reliance on fossil fuels. More than ever, Africa's just transition has come into sharp focus, especially here in South Africa, where clearly we all know we've got ongoing load shedding, and that's somewhat stimulated an investment boom in renewable and embedded energy technologies. The impacts of climate change that we're all aware of are severely felt as adverse weather conditions intensify throughout Africa, leaving behind destruction, despair, and displacement. As recent as last week, Premier, here in your province, we experienced snow. It lasted all of 1 or 2 hours, but you could have sworn that we'd had a hailstorm and an avalanche, the way people on social media are going on about it. And sadly, we've seen powerful winds also, and rainfall damage roads and flooded houses and sewer systems in northern KZN, followed by a devastating tornado that injured and claimed many lives. According to the State of Climate in Africa in 2021 report, our continent is disproportionately vulnerable to the impact of climate change. The past few years were characterized by continued warming temperatures, accelerating sea level rise, extreme weather, and climate events such as frequent floods, violent cyclones in Mozambique, for instance, and we've experienced droughts in places like Lake Chad in Central Africa, and this has caused acute food insecurity in East Africa as well. And these impacts of climate change are worsened by our own infrastructural and developmental challenges, and sadly, these are most severely felt by the most marginalized and vulnerable in our societies across the continent. Undoubtedly, climate change exacerbates Africa's triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. That's why we need to implement mitigating actions that consider both local, socio-economic contexts and climate issues. So undoubtedly, Africa needs a just transition, which is as fair and inclusive as possible to everyone concerned, and that ensures that costs and benefits of a world powered by renewable energy are fairly distributed. First, we must recognize that Africa is unique. The continent is starting from a lower base in terms of a move towards a lower carbon economy. And as we were speaking earlier this morning, Premier, we as Africans are not yet fully industrialized. We were speaking about the industrialization happening in China, and we must recognize that we are not quite there yet as Africa, which means that changes that are needed might see some disruptions in society, but we must make sure that it's not the most vulnerable people that pay. We have to take an approach that is pro-development, pro-poor, and which ultimately allows maximum number of people to be able to exit poverty and have a better quality of life. The priority for Africa's industrialization has to be access to energy. The good news is that renewable energy is the cheapest form of energy, and generating electricity is available through renewables, and it therefore makes sense for us to invest in renewable energies. For instance, we have an abundance of sun, we have an abundance of wind, we have an abundance of water sources. So rather than just accepting what must be done to mitigate our carbon emissions, we must be cognizant of Africa's development. And many decision makers and commentators, as my chairman Daniel would have experienced in his previous role, from these higher income countries, talk about Africa leapfrogging the need for hydrocarbons. We get it. But for us, this will need to be an intricate balancing act as we are yet to industrialize. While tech advances such as low-cost solar panels mean that Africa's industrial revolution could look very different and contribute fewer emissions than seen in the West, such a pathway will require a step change in a way that these developed economies work with both Africa and how they work with Africa on climate change while keeping in mind our own pace of development. To be credible partners, the high-income countries must significantly increase the levels of climate finance, while equally considering how this finance will be deployed and how it will be used to support Africa's vision for development and industrialization, as well as mitigate carbon emissions. The required shift from extractive economies to regenerative economies can be a net generator of decent jobs that can contribute significantly to poverty eradication and social inclusion. However, the transition to a low-carbon economy is indeed complex. It needs to be carefully structured and just, and it must be sure not to disrupt energy supply, increase the energy costs that might result in job losses, or disrupt the local fabric of our beautiful African communities and businesses. The transitions must be unique to each country and region. What we do in Kenya might not be the same as what we do in South Africa, might not be the same as what happens in Angola, Ghana, and Tanzania, for instance. So without the necessary care, planning, and management, the pace and scale of transformation required by the net zero transition could result in increased social inequality, worker disillusionment, strikes, or even civil unrest, and reduced productivity, as well as less competitive businesses, sectors, and markets. And as such, I put it to you that an African just transition framework is desperately needed to provide a feasible route to effectively harmonize economic progress and conservation considerations. So let me state from the outset, ladies and gentlemen, that Africa's just transition needs to be collaborative in its overall culture. No single entity or industry can deliver this transition on its own. Proactive partnerships are required, collaboration across sectors of society are needed, and we will require commitments, Honorable Premier, from the government, from business, from civil society, and we must be sure that non-governmental and local communities are involved to ensure that the green economy is an inclusive one and indeed a sustainable one. For successful long-term outcomes that can benefit all, we need to work together with government to create an enabling environment through legislation, regulation, and then business to help fund the action and innovation. Then we will see a solid uptake and support by all members of society. Secondly, we must commit to reducing the reliance on fossil fuels. We know that. Rich in energy and mineral resources, Africa offers new market opportunities for the green transition. And due to the continent's limited dependence, in actual fact, on fossil fuels as we speak, and energy technologies, we have the potential to develop a resilient and sustainable energy sector. It's time we made more substantial stride in promoting renewable energies such as solar, hydro, as this will enhance energy security and reduce greenhouse emissions. So as we transition to the renewable energy sources, we must ensure that we also improve energy access to underserved communities, address energy poverty, and advance sustainable development. Thirdly, we must prioritize leveraging sustainable financing opportunities. So I was just checking, according to the work undertaken by BCG, or Boston Consulting Group, and the National Business Initiative in South Africa, as part of our Climate Pathways and the Just Transition for South Africa project, the opportunities for South African power sector alone are projected to be worth more than 500 billion rands. And by 2030, it's projected that these could be worth at least 1 trillion South African rands. At Nedbank, as you've seen and you've heard over the past day or so, our sustainable development finance strategy focuses on investing plus lending to businesses and individuals to create positive social and environmental change in all various areas of society. Our strategy mainly consists of three main focus areas: supporting sustainable finance, financing the transition to cleaner practices, and offering inclusive financial products and services. We've also supported our clients across the continent to install private power generation in Eswatini, for instance, in Lesotho, Namibia, and Zimbabwe. And additionally, in 2021, we sat, and my colleague Mfundo will correct me, we sat at about 108 billion set aside for sustainable development finance, aligned with our sustainability developmental goals, the SDGs. And in 2022, we raised this to 123 billion rands, highlighting our firm dedication to this compelling cause. It's not lost on us, Premier, that this transition will also need a skilled workforce. It will require a skilled workforce, creating new job opportunities. So for those, Honorable Premier, that didn't get NASISPAN, there's an opportunity in renewable energy. So therefore, the investment initiatives will have to foster good education, skills development, and for me personally, close to my heart, entrepreneurship in these sectors that will lead to clean energy, amongst others, and that will be essential. But we have to work with the local communities in order to ensure that we support projects that uplift marginalized groups. So as we look for upliftment models that aim to protect the planet and adapt and mitigate the impact of climate change, at the same time, we must maximize the employment and socioeconomic development. These will play a vital role and protect individuals and their livelihoods, as well as safeguard biodiversity, water systems, and make sure we do it in an economically viable way. We have seen in the video earlier the Avocado Vision Green Charcoal Project. That's just one of the initiatives that illustrate how a just transition can have economic benefits. As you saw, this project creates small businesses in Matatiele in the Eastern Cape, and through these SMMEs, they clear forests of invasive plants and efficiently manufacture them into eco-charcoal for the local and ultimately international market. And these will enable businesses to produce about 5,500 tons of responsibly and sustainably sourced charcoal each year, and it'll create close to 200 jobs. Just an example of how Nedbank is partnering with such good initiatives. There are several other examples I could give, but just as a touch, that was one of them. So let me conclude in my welcome, ladies and gentlemen, that Africa's just transition presents many exciting opportunities for the entire continent. And as the bank, we at Nedbank are clear in how we will play a crucial role that will finance and partner with businesses, small, medium, and large corporates that will facilitate economic activity, enabling sustainable growth and development by moving capital from where it is to where it is most required. That's why we're committed to this, because it makes sense, and I urge you all, as you journey through today's program, to keep in the back of your minds that Nedbank is here to support, and Nedbank is going to do it in a sustainably responsible and, of course, sustainably financially viable way. With those few words of welcome, I officially open today's day 2 and look forward to robust panel discussions, robust audience engagement, and of course, an enjoyable day. All the best for today. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sibiya. Thank you very, very much for that opening, giving us some great insights into Nedbank, their policy, their mission. They always have been. It doesn't matter how far you go back. When we talk about the Green Bank, it's not about the color, it's about the way they do business. And that's what's so important. It's living by your mandate, living by your motto, and of course, trying to make this into a better world. I mean, when we look at weather conditions and we look at what is happening around the world, it's frightening. It really is. I mean, you know, when yesterday's events unfolded, I honestly had a knot in my stomach thinking, you know, was that an earthquake? Because you just don't know. Because we've had all of these rumblings in Johannesburg. I mean, I remember the other night, my fellow Johannesburgers, we kind of immune to this. Remember waking up in the early hours of the morning and there was that rumbling and shaking that was happening. That was something we don't necessarily have here. Snow, you spoke about the snow. It was ridiculous. I mean, we were broadcasting and it looked like a blizzard taking place. I'm not saying we didn't enjoy it. We loved it, but things are changing. The world is changing. And it's changing so rapidly, and that's the reality. I mean, we sit and look at European countries and also in North America, actually around the world, that are hitting record highs that have never been recorded, fires that are out of control. And the thing is if we don't change, it is going to have catastrophic consequences for the future generations. You know, many people ask the question, but you know, we don't emit enough. I mean, why do we have to, unfortunately, sacrifice so much? But the reality is that it's been left too late. And if we do nothing about it, then I don't know about you, but I kind of want my kids to live a little longer in a planet that can actually house them. And these are the kind of things we need to think about. So again, this leads me to introducing somebody who I have truly utmost respect for. From the very first time I sat down with him in studio, he was appointed the then Education MEC for here in Gauteng. And of course, all of us have seen him every time there was an incident. The MEC would pop up, there he was, sorting it out, speaking, trying to calm everybody down, get to the root cause of it, and sort it out. And then through the ranks, rising to become the Premier of Gauteng now. But I remember listening to him and actually in the interview saying, I like you. I really like you. And I kind of still do like you, Premier. I really do, because you are honest and truthful. And to find that in a politician is very rare, unfortunately. But I think you live your mandate, you live your motto, and we respect you, we really do. And we thank you so much for being here with us.
No, it's a bitter truth.
Thank you, Premier. Nice to see you.
Sure. You were getting wired up. Sure.
Leanne, my instincts of being a politician came in, and I nearly said, I wish Leanne can say the same thing around May 2024 when those snow ones. What does it means? Thank you so much. Truly appreciate that, Leanne. And you know, I admire, I work with you so much on many programs and activities of government. Let me also thank Spe. Spe, I want to thank you, my brother. You are wearing the sneakers that have adopted my favorite soccer team. So I want to thank you for that and appreciate that. Let me start by acknowledging Mr. Mike Brown, the CEO, and the executive team, the entire leadership of Nedbank, led here by the chairperson, Dr. Minele. Thank you so much, Doc, and the entire team here. And so I appreciate the good welcome, Dr. Terence Sibiya, the group managing executive, and all staff and leadership of Nedbank. I also want to acknowledge the presence of officials from government and those that have been invited to be speakers and panelists, and also acknowledge and thank the person that was supposed to be my administrative head in government, Ntate Sidiso Madonna. He left me after I've appointed him. Thanks, Ntate Sidiso. But it will be a miscarriage of justice if you don't acknowledge Dr. Matthews Posa. If there is somebody that appreciated me, nurtured me, followed me, guided me and dropped messages after doing television interviews and online interviews is Dr. Matthew Sposa. Thank you so much, Doc. I truly, truly, truly appreciate your role in my life. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to acknowledge and appreciate the work that is done by Top Empowerment, and also appreciate you for agreeing to be part of this initiative and providing the necessary resources and guidance, especially inputs. Unfortunately, last night we went to bed, or early hours of the morning, we went to bed with broken hearts when our citizens went through a painful, painful exercise where our city was literally turned upside down. To date, we are even not sure what is the cause of this incident or this explosion. We're doing everything within our powers to get the necessary report, and we are scheduled to get the next report around 11 o'clock, and I hope you'll forgive me when I dash out so that we can account to society what has happened to them. But we come to you to appreciate that you've chosen our province for this conference, but also to appreciate that you believe that this province of ours can thrive again and deliver on the results or the expectations that our people have. This is a province that was established on the basis of mining, but we all know and all accept that mining is gone. We need to be creative, we need to come with new ideas, but most importantly, we need to carry everyone along. And we are proud that we are now repositioning ourselves as a digital economy, an economy that will enter the digital space and attract those that want to invest in our province. We are also proud that we are partnering with various institutions across the globe that truly feel that Gauteng is the future. Led by the Gauteng Tourism Authority, we are trying to be everywhere where we are needed and respond where we are asked questions. But one question that we can't avoid and that has preoccupied us in the last 6 or 7 months is that our province, it's not a safe province. Full of crime, full of robberies, full of deaths, violent deaths, I must indicate. And therefore we have no choice. If we have to attract investment, have to attract families to come to our province, we have to confront crime head on. And we've turned to this mission and turned to this commitment and release the resources that we believe will assist us to turn the corner. And we now acknowledge and accept, if we can't get crime right in our province, we can't get Gauteng moving. If we can't tackle the high level of crimes in our communities, we can't get this province moving. If we have to pump the economy of this country, as the leader of the economy in terms of the work that we do as a province and deposit into the national space, we just have to get the fight against crime right. And we are proud that we are putting all the necessary resources to tackle this problem. We have turned the Department of Community Safety from a department of 800 million per annum department to a 4.7 million department. And we are taking these resources to empower law enforcement agencies, our police, but also because we want to be a digital economy, we're investing in what we call e-policing, from drones, helicopters, e-panic buttons, but most importantly, taking advantage of the satellite resources that we have in our province to ensure that we monitor every corner of our province through CCTVs and many other investments that we have put. So those that are still doing business in our province, regardless of the difficulties of doing business in our province, we want to thank you, we want to appreciate you, but most importantly, we want to assure you, we are going to pump the economy of this province and turn around the crime situation in our province so that you, your businesses, and our families can feel safe in our province. We are determined to fight crime. If there is anything that you have to determine my performance in terms of performance indicators, it is how quick we turn the crime situation in our province. With the resources and the skills and the talent of those that have been assigned to assist us in this task, I'm much convinced that we'll be in a position to turn the corner and assist our people. Those that are here, we are calling upon you also to create opportunities for our people. As Mr. Dr. Terence B. has just indicated, we advertised almost 8,000 posts for people that can come and kickstart our economy in our province. We're shocked to receive more than 1.4 million applications just for 8,000 posts. And we are now convinced that we know we can touch, we can interact with the faces of unemployment. We've taken a decision that we're not going to write a rejection letter to the almost 1.4 million people that will be unsuccessful, but we'll partner with all our institutions across spheres of government, business, NGOs, and any available training institution to assist us to tackle this problem. This is an opportunity that we should take with both hands and ensure that everyone that is willing to tackle unemployment join us in this battle. The third part is almost 65% of the applications are from people that are not properly skilled. So the skills revolution and the skills development must take its place and provide the necessary assistance. We've committed ourselves. Those that need to go back to school will fund their studies. Those that have to go to universities will fund their bursaries. And those that need to be reskilled will partner with skills institutions and reskill them with the digital economy that we are convinced there's no dustbin of a human being. We need to do everything within our powers to ensure that our people get skilled and get the job opportunities. So it's a task, a huge task that we must not abandon. It's a task that needs us to hold each other's hands. And when we are here in this session this morning, we are convinced that your ideas, we are convinced that your thoughts, we are convinced that your proposals will aid in the elimination of those that are in this waiting list of 1.4 million unemployed young people. If your ideas can just eliminate 1 or 2 or 3 people from that list, then we know this conference was indeed a successful conference. We look forward from hearing from you, partnering with you, and working with you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join you in this session today.